Hey guys, Matt here with BuiltRight. Today we're going to show you how to install your BuiltRight low-profile bedside MOLLE panels in your Rivian R1T. So first we're going to show you what's included in the kit. We're going to show you the tools that you're going to need, and then we'll walk you through the installation step by step. So let's get to it. Okay, so for each side of the truck, you're going to need 3 of these flathead machine screws, 3 countersunk aluminum washers, 3 plastic retaining washers, and 3 injection molded spacers. And of course you're going to have the panel. As far as tools, you're going to need a 10mm socket, a 5/32 or 4mm Allen key, and then a pick tool or a small screwdriver of some sort. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is prep the panel for installation. One of the things that you need to understand is because these panels can be fit on either the driver or the passenger side, there are some unused holes depending on which side you put it on. So for example, on this panel we prepped this mounting location, but we didn't prep this location. The same goes for the middle and the end. So that'll make more sense once you try and put it up. If you do it wrong, it's really easy to go back and figure it out. But just to kind of explain that is the reason for the multiple holes. Okay, so based on that, we're gonna hold our panel into place on this side. The panels do mount using a mounting feature underneath these plugs. This will be the next step. So I'm holding this up just to be able to identify on the panel which of those 3 mounting holes we're gonna use, because the next thing we're gonna do is actually prep the panel. So let's do that. Okay, so now I'm looking at the front of the panel here. I'm going to put the bolt with a countersunk washer through that hole. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to put one of these spacers with the text on the spacer facing towards the panel. And then I'm going to grab one of our plastic retaining washers. You can see the backside of this spacer is recessed a little bit. That is to accept this plastic retaining washer. And what that does is, as we're moving the panel into place, it's going to hold it so that this isn't falling off and making that harder than it has to be. All right, so once we've got that first one done, we're going to go ahead and repeat that process in all 3 mounting locations. Okay, so the next step is we're going to remove the 3 plastic caps that are covering our mounting bolts. Now these are a little bit tricky, so I'm going to walk you through it step by step. The main key is, with a pick tool or a small screwdriver, you need to grab just barely under this lip and pull back in order to get it off. And you may have to try a couple of locations. I'm trying not to block your view here. Try not to mangle the cap too much. Okay, so part of the reason we need to be careful about prying just right on the edge of this, as opposed to trying to get under here, is that if you get under here, you end up prying on this little steel like washer here, and you end up trying to pry that, which you will lose in that effort, and you'll just end up breaking whatever you're using. So you're really just trying to get under this plastic lip here and pull it off. So again, if you have trouble in one spot, you maybe go further around and try it again. Sometimes it's tighter on one side than the other. So as long as you're patient with it, you're not going to have a problem with this at all. If it really feels like you're prying hard against something, it's because you're prying under this metal washer. All right, so the next step is to complete that in the other 2 mounting points here. All right, so these caps and the bolts we're about to remove, we're not going to be reusing those, but you may want to set them aside and keep them in a safe spot if you're ever to sell your truck or something like that. So just a note on that. All right, next step, we're going to use a 10mm socket to remove each of these bolts here. All right, so we're removing this 10mm bolt. That is something that we are not going to be reusing. I can show you here. This bolt we're not going to be reusing. It does have a captive washer on there, so you can set that aside. The steel, kind of a top hat looking washer, this we will be reusing. All right, so I'm going to throw this hardware and these 3 caps back in the baggie that the hardware kit came in and put it in the cubby under my seat for safekeeping. Okay, so now we're ready to install our panel assembly. We're going to go ahead and put the cup washers over each of these assemblies. I'll do it to all 3 here. If they fall off, you just put them back on. And then carefully maneuver the panel into place. And I'm going to start with the center one here. Get that started, couple of threads, not all the way. And then I'm going to move to the rear one. We're at the rear mounting point here. Getting it started. Again, keeping it loose. Make sure that steel cap washer is nicely seated in the recess. Now we'll do the same thing at the front. Make sure that that OEM washer is nicely seated in the plastic recess of the bedside. And then because we got the other two done, we'll snug this up a little bit, and then we'll snug the other three up just like that. All right, so you don't need to go crazy tightening those down. Snug is good. The last thing we're gonna do is use this rubber bumper and the push clip here. I'm gonna place it right in this slot here, which is where there's an angle on the bedside, so that we can put a little bit of tension on this if we want. Just in case you've got it loaded down, it's gonna keep things a little bit more sturdy. So I've got the rubber bumper into place here. I'm gonna take the push clip, push it in like that, and then this can slide depending on how much preload you want, up like that. Something like that's good. It's gonna keep this nice and sturdy. Okay, so with that, your BuiltRight low-profile bedside MOLLE panel is installed in your Rivian R1T. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, please leave them below. Give us a call, shoot us an email. We'd be happy to help you out. Your next step is to do some experimentation, decide what to attach to these. Obviously, they're easy to reconfigure. We'd love to see what you end up doing. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.